affected by the capital structure. Because equity capital and debt capital have different costs. So depending upon how much debt you're using, that cost of capital is going to change. But in terms of looking at the cash flows of the investment project, we don't care about the interest costs. All right. Oh, one more thing. Changes to net working capital. These are relevant because they affect the cash flow of the firm. You know, you come up with a new product, and supporting the sales of this new product is going to involve some additional inventory and maybe some additional trade credit. Obviously, that financing is going to come from the firm, so it is relevant. Because any increase in net working capital that is due to the new project need to be financed. At the end of the project life, any accumulated change in net working capital is returned back to the firm. And hence is positive cash flow to the project. And the cash flow concept we're going to use is cash flow from assets, which is equal to CFFA, operating cash flow, minus net capital spending minus change in net working capital. Come on. Where we define OCF as essentially net income plus depreciation. Net income is sales minus fixed costs minus variable costs minus depreciation times 1 minus tax rate. As you notice, we didn't include any interest expenses. Here, even though we don't have to call it separately, depreciation tax shield is depreciation times tax rate. So any increase in depreciation is going to actually increase net income, which means it's going to increase what you want to call operating cash flow. Net capital spending is purchases of plant, property, equipment, plus any opportunity costs, less any fixed asset salvage, less opportunity costs reversals. If the project is a 5-year life and you're using a $50 million worth of land that belongs to the firm, you're going to charge that as an opportunity cost in year 0, but at the end of year 5, you're returning that land back to the firm. So estimated value of the firm at the end of year 5 is going to be a positive cash flow to the firm or negative capital spending. Similarly, plant, property, and equipment. Just because they may have been depreciated to 0 for tax purposes doesn't mean that at the end of the project they're worth nothing. You'll get something out of it. I mean, maybe some scrap value. So you need to calculate that salvage value. Obviously, that's going to be negative capital spending or positive cash flow to the firm. Now, let's first develop a spreadsheet that's going to help us calculate depreciation under different kind of regimes. So, depreciation, I can always misspell it and correct it. There are multiple methods to apply depreciation. I'm going to talk about basically only 3 of them. One of them is straight line depreciation. Every year, an equal amount is written off the book value or the purchase value of a fixed asset over the tax life of the assets. Example, you bought a machine for $10 million and tax life is 5 years. Every year you depreciate, you write off as depreciation. How much do you think? You bought it for 5 million, 10 million, tax life for 5 years. How much should you write off as depreciation every year? You guys have taken some accounting classes, I know. And I talk about these in my basic finance class too. 2 million. It's straight line. You basically divide the historical cost of acquisition by the tax life. $10 over 5 million. That's simple. Another one is called, let me see, modified accelerated cost recovery system, affectionately known as MAKERS. IRS determines the tax life, and for 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, and 20 years, they provide a table